we have to take note that from around 2000, a fast-track land reform program was a backbone. And in our view, it was a very good first step. That land was taken from an estimated 4,000 white minority and redistributed to an estimated 300 to 400,000 black farmers or black Zimbabweans. However, it is our view that that land is not in the hands of the indigenous majority. It has been taken from a white minority into the hands of a black minority. So, who are the majority of the people who benefited under the land reform? They are largely a clique that belongs and or associates with one political party. And it happens that I'm one of the beneficiaries. I got land, and I know very well because it was made possible because I belonged to a certain political party. It's not to say all of the people who got that land are ZANU-PF, but to a very large extent, the beneficiaries of the land reform program belong to one political party. And to a very large extent, those not connected or associated to those in one political party have been sidelined and segregated against, and they have no access to that land, which also belongs to them as a national resource. Except for a few cases, land was and still continues to be distributed along partisan lines as politicians continue to be in charge of the land distribution process. As we speak, those who can't pay bribes to officials in charge of land allocation have been denied the right to land. Those who have also fallen out of favor with the leadership of the country are also having their farms taken away from them and being repossessed. You are all aware of the many cases that have flooded the courts, especially the High Court, where members of a certain faction in a certain political party are being persecuted because they have fallen out of favor with the leadership. And this is very sad. The authorities have embarked on a program to withdraw that land from those they do not agree with politically. And it is very unfortunate that land has been weaponized and politicized to an extent that whosoever disagrees with the authorities is threatened with land withdrawal or actual withdrawal. And on a very sad note, still on the issue of land, the authorities seem committed to reverse the land reform and give back that land to former commercial farmers on various dubious grounds. This is despite the fact that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of indigenous Zimbabweans have been and are still waiting patiently to get that small piece of land and produce. And the government of today, our current government, has come up with a statutory instrument under the guise of wanting to compensate the former commercial farmers, when in fact they intend to reverse that land reform. You could also appreciate that men across the country have been evicted and ejected from farms they occupied many years ago, as only the politically powerful and connected are now getting that land. We have the case of those who have benefited land in Kiret. Thousands of families face an ejection from the land they had occupied for so many years because the authorities say they have found an investor. And they want to get rid of those people who have benefited from that land. Offer letters have not been disbursed as anticipated after many years of unfulfilled promises by power-seeking politicians during election time. Those connected and powerful in our society have been given 99-year leases, while some have offer letters, and the rest have nothing to show except the word of promise by a politician seeking votes. The majority have no security of tenure on the land that they have occupied. And this will continue, if not challenged, because the authorities would want people to continue to have this sense of insecurity, to say, if I go against the government or if I disagree with the party in government, I will have my land withdrawn. And this is the reason why people are not being given 99-year leases since 2000. The leases have only been given to those in power and position of influence. And it's very sad. While the majority of Zimbabweans seek a very small piece of land and they have no access to it, a minority clique has vast tracts of land and multiple farms, stretching into thousands of hectares, even when they know that the current farm ownership policy says the maximum farm size that one has got must have is 400 hectares. But those in power have more than 400 hectares. They have farms with thousands of hectares, and then they have multiple farms. And there are also some farms that are being kept for unborn babies and the children of powerful politicians who are out of this country, who do not even have any interest in farming, while we have Zimbabweans wanting to have that land. While men await the results of a supposed land audit, the bitter truth and the reality of the day is that high-ranking officials within the government and one party have already passed out the land amongst themselves. And this is the truth. Go wherever and confirm what I'm saying. When they will come up with the land audit report, there will be no land for you. And it happens that at one point when I was still a member of a certain political party, I went to Chipinge and addressed young people there who were demanding land, saying we were promised land from 2010 when we had a conference in Mtari, that all the remaining land would be given to the youth and women. And where is that land? And that was in 2019. And I said to them, let's wait for the finalization of the land audit. Or if you are not patient, find something that you can do to get the attention of the leadership so that you are given that land. And I'll say today that they organized themselves into around 700 youths in Chipinge, and they occupied a farm. And for me then to know that they had occupied a farm in Chipinge, I was called to the office of one high-ranking official who is a member of the Presidium to warn me that we have to stop to encourage young people to ask for land. And I said, no, but Chef, year in, year out, the party is saying, Minda Yakasa Chef, my youth, you must get it from me. There is no such thing. That's a done deal. And ask those young people there if any of them has got land, including the acting deputy national secretary for youth affairs. He doesn't have land. They have raised it a number of times to the party leadership in the briefings with the Presidium and everyone, and they have not shown any willingness to give land to young people, while they have vast tracts of land, thousands of hectares, and multiple farms. So young people out there, and all Zimbabweans who are in need of land, must understand that it is not going to come to them on a silver platter. It was easy to take it from a white minority, but I don't think it would be easy for you and me to get it from a black minority, especially the ones who are in office. They are not ready to do that. And it would be foolish on our part to think that at one point those in a political of a certain party and those in the cabinet will sit down on their own and say, we have multiple farms, can we please share it with those who don't have land? They are not going to do that. So, what do we have to do? Should the land remain in the hands of a minority? Definitely not. Which is why we are coming out to launch this green revolution, the economic revolution, to make sure that everyone has equal access to national resources. These resources do not belong to a certain political party. They belong to all Zimbabweans. And it has to be corrected. But get it from me, it's not going to be a straw in the park. They will resist. But we have to do everything necessary to make sure that that land is shared equally and to people who have the capacity and the potential to produce. Some of those who have land today have become soya beans farmers. Not soya beans, I mean soya. Some are self-owned farmers. Some are visiting farmers to their own plots of land that they were allocated. And these are issues that have to be dealt with. And this is the reason why we are also coming up with this platform and this green revolution under the banner of the Front for Economic Emancipation in Zimbabwe. Production of the farms is implemented as many are nothing but self-owned and visiting farmers who have no commitment to farm and produce for the country. And as such, we continue to experience food insecurity and largely rely on grain imports. No meaningful and sustainable farmer support schemes have been put in place to enable and empower the farmer to produce, while some have abused the available, though disorganized facilities, and by doing so they have deprived the country of food security and revival of the agricultural industry. Related to this, farmers have also been made unable to enjoy products of their sweat and the returns of their investments through unfair marketing models and exploitative practices, which have been condoned by the authorities. Not much has been done to defend the farmers against exploitation and manipulation. An example being what tobacco farmers are experiencing currently at the tobacco auction floors. While a certain percentage of their tobacco is being bought using forex, the other percentage is being bought using RTGS at the rate of 1:25. When the officials know very well that after the farmers have sold their tobacco, they will not be able again to go back into the fields. They are very much aware even of the parallel forex rates, and they are giving the farmers half of what is being given, of what is available in terms of forex rates on the parallel market. And how is the farmer going to manage to go back into the field?